I've seen so many comments about France and French people over the years. And I'm not gonna lie, yes, some of them make me laugh, but I do need to mention that some of them honestly make me feel where on earth people get that idea. So today, naturally, I want to react to one of the biggest French cliches as a French woman. I may just pause right here. For those in my comments that insinuate that I am not French enough because of how I look, I am extremely sorry to tell you. I was born and raised in France, I can speak French, and I am French. Now, we can begin. So, the number one, it's the one right at the top of your list. French people are rude. The amount of times I've heard that one. Look, if you're coming from somewhere like Australia, the UK, Canada, the US, or just like all of these countries where people smile naturally to strangers, yeah, France can definitely feel a little direct. Waiters won't always come to see you to ask how your meal is every 5 minutes, but rude, not sure if that's really the right word. A lot of people confuse friendliness with politeness. In France, those are two very different things. So for example, if you walk into a boulangerie or bakery and you don't say bonjour as the first thing you do, that is considered rude. That simple greeting matters more than you can ever imagine in France. Acknowledging the other person in front of you before asking for something, which I have seen a lot of tourists not always do. Once you know that little simple social rule, I promise you, French people suddenly feel a lot more friendlier. You can still be honest, direct, and be respectful. Now, my second favorite of them all. French people are arrogant. Look, I genuinely want to understand this one, because what exactly do people mean by the word arrogant? Is it confidence, having an opinion? Is it correcting people? Because if that's what people mean, then yes, I can understand why we may have this reputation. French people love debating. We debate absolutely everything. Politics, football, don't get me started. Whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I'm not gonna answer that question. But if I'm being really honest, debating in France is never seen as arguing. It's simply participating. At school, we are encouraged to defend our ideas, why we think the way we do, and therefore question everyone else's arguments. So when someone says, I don't agree in France, they're often not trying to start a fight. They are joining the conversation. Now, does it mean that no French person is arrogant? Well, of course not. Some definitely are, but not everyone. It's not French equals arrogance. Please, I beg of you, no. Next one. Okay, we're gonna have a little laugh here. French people don't shower. Really? When I heard that one, and not only once, unfortunately, I honestly laughed. I was like, where on earth did you get that idea from? Please, French people, shower. What a revelation. Although, because I'm honest, yes. When I was a child, a teenager, wasn't going out for the day, stayed in my PJs, was a bit sick or a bit cold in winter, would I skip 1 or 2 days? Yes, it has happened. But if you're honest, you know that you've done it yourself at some point in your life. Let's be honest here. I've never met anyone who genuinely proudly said, I don't shower. I'll never understand that cliche. I wish I could defend this one, but I can't. French people smoke. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, compared to Australia, France has definitely more smokers. I found out very sadly that 1 in 5 French adults still smoke regularly, when in Australia it's closer to 1 in 10. For sure, that's a huge difference. And you do notice it. If you're sitting outside at a cafe, 100%. And that's very unfortunate. I personally hate cigarettes, hate the smell, hate the smoke, and obviously hate what it does to people. So there's no way I could possibly defend it. But I feel like instead of just trying to judge, I always feel like it's always better to try to understand where things started originally, how it became such a big part of the French culture. And what I found out is that for a very long time, it was actually connected to cafe culture, to taking a break, to sitting outside with friends. It kind of became part of a social ritual somehow. That does not make it healthy whatsoever, but that does explain why it's still more common. But I have good news. Thankfully, things are changing, and from what I have seen, smoking has been declining in France for years. Now, we're not going to pretend that it isn't part of the culture anymore, but I am French and I don't smoke, and it's declining, which is a little bit of a win. This one. French people are always protesting. Well, yeah, this one is fairly accurate. We do protest quite a lot, but I do feel that sometimes a lot of people, especially just like seeing it in media and stuff, misunderstand why. It's not necessarily because French people are always angry and need to say it out loud. It's because protesting is honestly seen as a normal part of democracy. France has a very long history of workers' rights, unions, and public demonstrations. Well, revolution, as you know. If people disagree with something, they just believe that they should say so loudly. I think it's still very positive to feel like you can speak up and you are free to do so. And I honestly don't think that people protesting means that people hate the country. Sometimes people protest because they care enough to want things to improve. And I feel like it's a way better way to look at it. This next one. French people only eat bread and cheese. Well, can you really blame us? They're both delicious. This cliché honestly really makes me laugh every time I hear it because no. When people picture French people, they picture someone either eating cheese or having a baguette under the arm. The cliché, okay, we know. People really picture us French people waking up, eating a croissant, having a baguette for lunch, a wheel of brie for dinner. It's just crazy to think that it's actually what people believe out there. Do I eat bread every day? No. Do I always have cheese in my fridge? And I'm not a good candidate here because yes, I do. Hello, you. Yes, I love you too. You. What was I saying? Yes, I do have cheese in my fridge all the time. Oh, Mary, you want to give Kala? I was just trying to explain to them that yes, I do have cheese in my fridge all the time. But it's not the meal. It's always part of the meal. Or sometimes, yes, apéro, a little cracker here and there. We're not the only ones. I'm sorry, but in Australia, they love their cheese as well. It's just so important for me to mention that France also has incredible variety of regional food. If you travel from Brittany to Provence to Alsace, it almost feels like a different country on your plate. You have cassoulet, bouillabaisse, tartiflette, ratatouille, crêpe. Yeah, I'm gonna calm down because I'm getting hungry. French cuisine is not frozen in time. It's constantly evolving. So yes, we love bread, we love our cheese, but we're a little bit more adventurous than people may think. Ah la 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 la, so I've heard that French people are romantic. I honestly don't know where this one comes from. Oh, no, actually, if I just think twice. Yeah, I do. Paris. How surprising. The movies. The language. I've heard people find it very interesting and romantic. Là, si je parle en français, vous allez me dire que c'est romantique pour vous. Pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas. Je suis pas vraiment sûr, mais bon, pourquoi pas. All of the clichés that we've seen. But are French people actually romantic? I'm not convinced. I feel like French people still have very awkward first dates. They still get ghosted, staring at the screen, waiting for the other person to reply for days. Trust me, we're not living in many of the perfume advertisings that we've been fed our whole lives. Most likely people have noticed that in France we're quite okay with showing affection. Well, obviously from the moment you can kiss someone else's cheeks when you've never met them before, showing affection to those that we know I think should be fine. Yes, it's true, people kiss in public, hold hands, have very long dinners. Maybe it's the whole image and then you put a little bit of saxophone on top, a little bit of jazz. Earlier with Zelda, we could look romantic very easily. From my experience and from what I've heard with friends and family, I feel like people in relationships here are more practical than anything else. So maybe we're not more romantic, we're just more, I don't know, comfortable expressing affection naturally. This one. Could not wait to mention it. French people refuse to speak English. This one honestly makes me a little bit sad because I understand on one hand why tourists and visitors think that, but I honestly think that most of the time it is not a refusal. It's fear. I remember at school, and even still today, some of my friends are terrified of speaking English. And not because they don't want to, but just because they don't want to sound stupid. And it makes me sad because I try to encourage those that don't feel comfortable because I'm like, if you don't do it, you're never gonna improve. And no one is here to judge you. It's not your first language. And it's just so sad because I feel like majority of French people that don't speak English, they all have felt like that at some point, that if they tried, they would be mocked. I just wanted to mention something because maybe a lot of people don't know about it. There's actually an interesting reason behind French people not speaking very good English, or not being known for it at least. France dubs almost everything. Movies, series, reality TV shows.
On a une annonce à vous faire. On va avoir un bébé.
Cartoons, documentaries, advertising. You grow up in France hearing everything in French. Compare that to countries like Sweden or the Netherlands, where children grow up watching TV in original languages with translated subtitles. It makes a massive difference. The only time we are exposed to the English language is through music. Nowadays, thankfully, we have access to platforms and the internet. We can get things in their original versions with subtitles. But still, if you put the TV in France, everything is still dubbed. So while people in the Nordic countries become adults being very comfortable speaking English because they've been exposed to it, French adults won't have that same confidence. It's just normal. We've only had English at school. So since French people don't have the same confidence, they worry about making mistakes. It's natural. And sometimes it is easier for them to just say nothing. Even if that's not what they want to do, that's what they do, inevitably. And I also think that French people appreciate effort, right? If you just come up to someone and start with bonjour, even if that's the only French word you know, even if you say it with an accent, I promise you that people will most likely soften immediately. It's like you've shown some sort of respect, but also you've shown them that you tried and you were not worried yourself about how it would come out. And then people are most likely gonna try as well. So I really don't think that it's about refusing to speak English. It's really hoping to not embarrass themselves. French people are always fashionable. Look, in my opinion, this one is impossible to answer because first of all, everyone has a different idea of what fashionable means. But yes, I do think that France has stronger expectations around appearance. It's true, especially in cities. And I think maybe that a lot of the time people may confuse well put together with fashionable. Most French people aren't wearing designer clothes. I'd say that majority of people in France wear very simple clothes. Most of the time jeans, just a simple jumper, a nice coat, simple trainers, nothing extraordinary. But the difference is usually in the fit. It's something that I've also adapted for myself when I came back to France 2 years ago. We love keeping it simple. It's less about fashion, more about looking like you made a little bit of an effort. Finally, French people complain all the time. Look, yeah, that's true. I wish I had a brilliant explanation that completely changed your mind or mine. But honestly, we complain. It's tough for me to say we, but I say we because I have to put myself in it because it has happened many times, and definitely before moving to Australia, 100%. Australia calmed me down when it comes to that. French people complain about the weather, politics, traffic, the trains, but there's always something that I find interesting. I don't think that French people complain because they feel miserable. I think they just simply hope for things to be better even when we can't do anything about it, like the weather. It's exactly like debating. It's a form of participation. We feel more alive just saying everything out loud. If something isn't working, you're gonna say it. And I know that some cultures are more like it is what it is. France is just simply not one of them. That's all. Now, is it sometimes exhausted? Yes, it is. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly can complain about French people complaining. It's probably the most French thing I can possibly do. I want to believe that it's also connected to something more positive than just that. French people care. Sometimes a little too much. Yeah. But I don't feel like caring is the worst quality to have. So, are all the clichés true? Some of them absolutely. Some of them no, at all. But what I found fascinating is that the further away you are from a place, the easier it is to reduce people to clichés. And then the closer you get, the more interesting they become because you realize it's not all black and white. That's why I love traveling. That's why I love living in different countries. You stop seeing stereotypes and you start seeing people for who they are. And I personally think that it's much more interesting. So now I'm gonna want to know, is there any other cliché that you've heard about France that I haven't touched on? Or maybe you've been there yourself here in France. Can you tell me your experience? Were any of the ones that I've told you true in your opinion? Let me know. Remember, every video is the beginning of a conversation. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.